The Phenom, Iñigo Anton, was in the midst of defending his overall championship of the Philippine Autocross Championship Series when the COVID-19 pandemic put a stop to all local and international motorsports. With no on-track events to race in, how did the 15-year racing star sate his thirst for racing? Race Weekend visits the young champion racer to find out. Last year, Iñigo Anton was crowned Philippine Autocross Championship Series overall champion at the tender age of 15, a feat he achieved while beating his father and chief rival for the title, Carlos Anton. But there's nothing tender about the Phenom's skills and potential or his determination to be the best champion racer he can be. Iñigo had just started a strong defense of his PAX crown at the beginning of the year, going fastest overall in 2 of the first 3 rounds. The family was abroad on vacation during the second round. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic intervened. With local motorsports in suspended animation, where does a young champion sate a thirst for racing? How can he continue to develop and hone his skills and talents for motorsports? Like everything else during the lockdown, the solution was to go digital. It was for Iñigo an easy and obvious answer.
I've been racing virtually for all my life, just video games, but I've never really taken it seriously. It was just like there as, just to have fun. If you're not in the racetrack, might as well just do some practice on the actual simulator. But I really didn't take it that seriously yet, or didn't really focus into it. But since the lockdown happened and there's not any more races, the only races I could join was virtually. So yeah, I kind of checked what the virtual races that are happening and the series. So yeah, and that's how I made my transition.
Local motorsports organizers also were quick to shift to virtual racing, providing racers like Iñigo a chance to continue racing against others. Among them was Tuason Racing, which organized the Race for Frontliners, a short e-racing series that also aimed to raise funds for frontliners battling the COVID-19 pandemic. Race for Frontliners drew hundreds of participants, including familiar names from the local motorsports champions and contenders, battling it out with the gamers and professional e-racers. Guess who ended up as champion? Iñigo Anton. For the Phenom, it wasn't that hard of a transition, real-life racing to virtual. After all, the Antons have invested in a simulator, maybe for fun or a kind of training for the real thing.
It wasn't as hard of a transition. Since I'm used to the sim, I just really had to put in the time and just really focus on it. Change my mindset to, even though it's just a sim race, I'll have the same mindset as in the real thing so that, I can drive to the best of my abilities during the race. So yeah, there's also just a little stuff to learn, to adapt again. It feels a little different, but, since the sim is very close to the real thing, it's very easy to adapt to it.
It wasn't hard to find more e-racing series to join. There's the GR Supra GT Cup Asia Philippines, where Iñigo, because he is below 18, is competing in the special junior class, when he could well be a contender in the higher classes. Then, there's Alex Young's e-racing GPC Philippine Edition, a round exclusively for local gamers. Competing against local e-racers is just more learning and honing of skills.
With our Filipino sim racers, they're also very good, but I've never heard of them in the pro. Kasi I was not messing around, and then with the actual pro sim racers, Terence Lalave, Luis Moreno, Daryl Brady, it was amazing, to see our country do well in these actual sim races. And we also had a Philippine edition where we brought all the sim racers from the Philippines to try and duel it out. I was able to get second to Luis Moreno, and it was very fun, and I learned a lot from them also.
From participating in local e-races, it's an easy step to regional and international e-motorsports events. It was all there for racers early in the global pandemic.
One of my titos, Tito Oyi there, he was able to see that I was online in these virtual races also, and he invited me to join some of his races too, in different games of course. So yeah, I just kept on joining and having fun, and then he also invited me to join this ERGP. So in this ERGP, it's actually hosted by Alex Yung, former F1 driver from Malaysia. And yeah, he was bringing in people across the world and mostly around Europe to race with the Southeast Asian sim racers. So, have a chance and feel how the European racers do it, also all the way from Australia and some even from the US.
So how was it competing with ERaces at the international level?
At least it challenges ourselves to try and compete internationally also with other countries. Us learning from each other and adapting to each other, it all helps. And what I've noticed also, like when I try to join or other people try to join international races, we're already almost there at the peak levels.
E-racing is good stuff, but for career racers. And there's no doubt Iñigo is looking at a motorsports career. There's really nothing better than driving a race car on a real track. And after 5 months of not getting into a real race car, Iñigo got a chance to at least test one, a Radical, on a real racetrack, Clark International Speedway. But this is as offshoot of a virtual racing.
How we got into contact with Radical Philippines about this test was that they invited me to join that race, and they saw that I was able to have good results. Like in the last race of the Radical, I was able to get 5th out of 50. It was a pretty good race for me, and they're happy with that result, and hopefully they wanted me to try the Radical in real life also.
And there's no hiding the joy of finally getting on the track with a fantastic race car.
It's like amazing what that Radical can do. Like I would say it's something out of a video game. Like with testing it in the game and then trying it in real life, it does what you want it to do. Like it turns in right away. It has all the power you want. It has the braking power you want also. Yeah, it was amazing to drive. And it was very easy to adapt to it also. Like not being in a car for 5 months, only on the sim. And of course, the sim really helped me to get back into how a car really feels, and how the Radical feels. And I was pretty happy with my result. I didn't expect to do that well, but of course, it was all with the coaching and all the teaching and all the learning, So that day, I just took it one step at a time, getting more confident with the car. By the end of the day, I was able to do 158, which is about a good 15 to 20 seconds faster than I've ever raced before, ever driven in Clark.
Making Iñigo's best lap time remarkable is that he's just 1 second off the fastest lap time recorded on a Radical at Clark set by none other than former phenom himself, Tyson C. Iñigo is looking forward to a time when he could get back to real-life racing.
Since this is just a one-off thing with the test and everything, I might be back on track just to maybe test it or just go back into actual racing once the whole lockdown is over, or hopefully all of COVID is already done. But if not, then I'll just still be on the sim. I'll still try and compete in as much as I can, Yeah, just always just racing, It's my passion, and I love it and I can't get enough of it. So yeah, just expect to see me in all the sim races, and hopefully I'll be able to do well in it.
All motorsports enthusiasts, racers, and race fans alike are hoping the pandemic finally ends and real racing begins. But in the meantime, there's ERaces.